Hey everybody, thanks for logging on. This is the Omaha Sports Insider team. I'm Adam Kruger, Joe Quinn, Nick Hanley. We're talking the Big Ten basketball tournament, which starts on Wednesday in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Nick, let's start with you. The Huskers fall into that play-in game. They tried to avoid it as much as they could, but just on a 4-game losing streak, playing really bad against the Penn State team. How much chance do you give them against the Nittany Lions?
If it was anybody but Penn State, I'd say no way. Or even Rutgers, even though Rutgers beat Nebraska. But the last time Nebraska, first of all, played Penn State, you got to go all the way back to February 11th when Penn State got their last win. That was against Illinois. So they're not necessarily playing good basketball either. I know we're all focused on Nebraska and saying, wow, Nebraska, they're getting blown out 15, 16 points, losing to 36 the other night to Michigan. What's going on in Nebraska? Anybody who actually follows Penn State basketball, and I don't know how many people follow Penn State basketball, probably having the same conversation about that team as well. Nebraska, the last time they played a really good quality basketball for 40 minutes was against Penn State. You would hope, now I'm not saying it will happen, but you would hope they would go in having the short memory of what just happened and having the memory of, hey, we match up well against Penn State. We've got the confidence against Penn State. That's the message Tim Miles and this coaching staff. If you're trying to remedy the situation, all you have to do is look at that Penn State film and say, look at how we were able to beat them in basically every phase of this game. Go after them the same way. But here's the question, and we were talking about this with the Big East tournament in Creighton too. What is the mental state of this basketball team after just being taken to the woodshed, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but now 4 times, and having the regular season finale be a 36-point loss at home, worst in program history on senior night? Where's Ty Webster at? Where's Glenn Watson at? Where are all of these guys right now? What are they thinking? So on paper, sure, they can win this game. They should win this game. In reality, I don't know.
It's so tough, Adam, because, I mean, I hate using this cliche, but I think in this case it actually applies, and Nick brought this up on our show on Monday, this is almost one of those games where it's who wants it more. Who wants to be in this situation more and who wants to will their team to victory? Because you put the two teams next to each other on paper, and I don't know. I mean, there's not a huge separation there, right? I mean, in fact, you probably like the overall talent level of Nebraska a little bit more, the overall potential level at least. But, after getting waxed by 36 points, and, even though the game against Minnesota ended at 15, it was in the 20s for most of the second half. Now, how motivated is Nebraska? I mean, have they checked out? Do they want to finish out the season? I mean, they're certainly capable of going into Washington, D.C. and winning this game against Penn State, but they're going to have to play better than they did against Michigan. I mean, they were a wreck. Offensively, just couldn't get anything going. They shot, 2 out of 15 or 2 out of 16, something like that, from behind the three-point line. They gave up way too many wide-open looks beyond the line to Michigan. And then when they tried to defend the three-point line, they let guys go literally right by them to the basket. It was a wreck offensively. It was a wreck defensively. Nothing went right on Sunday. They're going to have to play better than that if they're going to have a shot in this thing.
Kind of a subplot in this Nebraska-Penn State game, the coaches. At Chambers, Penn State, got a vote of confidence from his athletic director. Tim Miles, not quite the same. Sean Eichhorst somewhat defended him a few weeks ago, or at least said the future of the program is bright. How much of a factor do you think this Big Ten tournament will have on Tim Miles' future in Nebraska?
Well, and before I answer that, I think it's going to be interesting to see because, as we know, Tim Miles in the postgame against Michigan, there was a lot of questions about his future. And he mentioned that, he's not concentrating on that. But, when you get away from it all, it's on your mind. Will that carry over into the players? Will they kind of see that uneasiness? Is Tim Miles showing that uneasiness? And maybe he truly does feel that way. Maybe he says, you know what, to heck with that. As far as my job, all I can control is what's in front of me right now. And if that's the case, that's the best way of going about this. And it seems like he's saying the right thing. Now, how the performance in the Big Ten tournament impacts his future, I don't think you can put that on 1 or 2 games in the postseason. I think if there is a decision to change leadership with this basketball program, and I have no indication that there is, I think that decision's already been made. If there's something, unless something just awful happens at the Big Ten tournament where Sean Eichhorst and everybody that's in charge of making this decision felt good with Tim Miles, and all of a sudden he gets teed up for punting a basketball into the crowd or something like that, and then that changes your idea, I don't know. I don't think anything is – I just don't think a loss to Penn State, or even if they win and a loss to Michigan State by 40 or 50, would change that. At least it shouldn't. I think if you have already decided the fate, I don't think what happens in the tournament is going to change that one iota. Even if they make it some kind of incredible run and you already decided that you're going to move on, I don't think that should change it either. I think whatever his fate is, it's been decided, and I don't think you're going to see anything change any kind of decision.
Joe, do you think they'll have any effect?
Yeah, I'm kind of in agreement with Nick. I mean, I have gone on the record and said numerous times, I think Tim Miles will be back. I think Tim Miles should be back. But you've got to ask yourself, okay, are you in a better spot overall as a program, right now than what you were, say, 4 years ago or 5 years ago when he came in? I mean, you got a brand new arena. You're still selling the place out, which is a testament to how loyal Husker fans are, because a lot of other programs would have quit on this team, midway through the year when they really started to go downhill. You have talent here. There are guys that were highly thought of by recruiting services. And again, not that that's the end-all, be-all. And yes, there is player development that has to take place. But you've got transfers sitting out who are going to help, make hopefully a positive future for this team. And, when you look at Nebraska, I mean, despite the fact that they've really tanked these last 4 games, when you just look at what they have done at times this year, is there some confidence they could go out and win a couple games here? And I think the answer to that is yes, right? I mean, yeah, the last 2 weeks have been absolutely miserable, but you go back to the middle of January, even the beginning of February, and you say, okay, if that team shows up, Nebraska's capable of winning a game or maybe even 2 in a tournament-type setting like this. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, the recent trends would seem to suggest that that's probably not going to be the case. But there are things to like about this team. And, for as much as fans would like to think that, guys, coaching decisions are made, decisions on coaches are made, with knee-jerk reactions to a 2-week run, that doesn't feel like the way that Sean Eichhorst runs Nebraska. I think that Nick is right, that this decision has already been made. And based on the available evidence, what little we know, I guess, I would say that I would be more surprised if he was let go than if he's back.
Okay, getting back to the Big Ten tournament as a whole real quickly, who wins the Big Ten tournament and why?
Boy, do we want to go with Tom Izzo and Michigan State, because that's the popular thing to do at this point. I think Purdue has at least looked the part. Now, to say without question and emphatically that Purdue is going to win this thing, I think anybody who feels that confident about anybody in the Big Ten has not been watching the Big Ten. But I like the way Purdue's built. When you look at them a year ago, they had the front court. Now they have a very good backcourt too, very good shooting team. So they can make adjustments when teams try to sag down and defend their bigs. And then when you come out, then you look at Swanigan and you look at everybody that's involved in that offense. So I think they provide the most matchup issues for everybody in the Big Ten. I think they look the part. So I would say the Big Ten winner would be Purdue. The one team, 2 teams actually, that I think keep an eye on, Maryland. I think as that young team around Melo Trimble has gotten more experienced, I think they're kind of ready for this moment. And the other team that just took it to Nebraska against Nebraska, Pinnacle Bank Arena the other night, Michigan, they are playing very good basketball too. Those are the 3 teams I would look out for. I think ultimately Purdue wins.
Yeah, I'm actually going to go a little bit different, Adam. I agree with Nick. I think Michigan is as hot as anybody in this conference, and the thing that I like about them is they've got some guys with big game experience. I mean, you saw Derek Walton Jr. just go crazy, right? I mean, and that's. Yeah, I mean, Nebraska made him look better than what he probably is, but still, he's a guy who has been in spots like this before. I like that Michigan team a lot. And another team, too, to keep an eye out for, the Iowa Hawkeyes have been red hot as of recent. They played themselves back onto the bubble. It's a team with a lot of motivation, and they're a team that started 4 freshmen for most of this year. Their one senior, Peter Jock, first team all-conference. He's finally getting healthy again. It could be one of those weird years where you get like a 6-8 or a 7-8 matchup in the conference championship game. So I'm going to go way out on a limb here. I will say Iowa against Michigan in the conference championship game, and I'll pick the Wolverines.
All right. Joe Quinn, Nick Hanley, I'm Adam Kruger. The Big Ten tournament starts Wednesday in Washington, D.C. It'll start with Nebraska versus Penn State, 3:30 on ESPN2. Thanks for logging on.